Hey everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. It's very weird doing interviews in the coronavirus environment, not just for me, but I'm sure for all my guests. We're all trying to figure out what the hell's going on and adjust to the new normal. So that being said, I've got a really great guitar player with us, a super talented guy with Steve Balkun from the Balkun Brothers. Just make a quick announcement. Go to everyonelovesguitar.com/subscribe and subscribe to the audio and the YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, hit that button on your right-hand side and subscribe. All righty, Steve Balkun. Just got back from tour, man. He's chilling out like he's got no other choice. Like, what else is he going to do? Born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut. Is that where Toad's place is?
Toad's is in New Haven.
New Haven, right. Have you guys played there?
It's close enough. We have played Toad's many times. Yeah. It's still the legendary spot that everybody's played. So it's kind of a rite of passage if you live in the area.
Very cool. I used to go there a couple of times when I was younger. Born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut, started playing guitar around 15, which led to his first touring gig when he was 19. He attended Berklee and then moved near Atlanta, Georgia, where he studied to be a master luthier at Luthier's International Guitar Building and Repair School. In 2010, after moving back to Hartford, he started his own custom guitar and repair shop called Balkun Guitars, and he started his band Balkun Brothers with his younger brother Nick on drums and Steve's on vocals and guitar. This is a two-piece band. Do you happen to know the Cold Stairs? Do you know those guys?
I don't know the Cold Stairs, no. Two-piece
band.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always into checking out how somebody else is pulling off the duo.
They do a good job, just like you guys do. I mean, your music is not totally dissimilar. Right. And if you want to connect with them, let me know. Chris Tapp's a really nice guy. I had him on the show. Maybe check out his interview. He's a very good guy. Very, cool. Really hardworking band. Band plays rock, blues, funk, and psychedelic jam music. They've released 4 albums. They've completed 6 European tours. And like I said, they just came from a cross-country tour of the States. They won Best Blues Band in Connecticut at the Connecticut Music Awards 4 years in a row. And they were semi-finalists 3 times and a grand finalist once at 4 different international blues challenge competitions. Steve, thanks so much for your time, and I appreciate you coming on the show. How isn't everything like everything is totally weird, right? If you're enjoying this show and you'd like to support it, go to everyonelovesguitar.com/support. And for information on advertising, visit everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Are you looking to buy or sell a home in the Tampa Bay area without having to deal with pushy realtors? Then make sure you connect with West Florida Real Estate. West Florida Real Estate has helped over 300 homeowners and investors buy and sell their properties over the last 5 years. Their service is outstanding, just like back in the days when there was actually service in the service business, and you'll never have to deal with any kind of sales junk when you're working with them. For more information, email Ann with an E at westfloridarealestate.com. That's ANNE at westfloridarealestate.com.
It's like the Twilight Zone, man. It really is.
That's what it is, man. We're in the Twilight Zone.
It really is. And actually, I've been on like a hardcore binge of the Twilight Zone.
Have you?
For the past couple months, and I swear I keep waking up just like, oh, I think I saw this in an episode or something. Like,
that's a great analogy.
Yeah, it's really strange. Like you're gonna wake up from a dream or something, or like, you know, that guy's gonna pop out with his cigarette and give you an explanation of
yeah. Rod Serling.
No, here's the scenario.
What we just saw, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah,
right.
It was weird. I had to bring in my car. Of all things, that I had a nail in my truck, and I'm like, man, I got to get this fixed immediately because I don't know if they're shutting the world down, and I'll have no vehicle if I get a flat. And I bring it in, and I go to the door, and of course I have a wipe in my hand to open the door, and the door's not open, and the guy comes out from one of the bays, and he's got rubber gloves on, and he goes, "Hey, go back to your car. leave your key, you know, they had like a little clipboard. So leave your keys on top of the clipboard and step back. I felt like I was getting arrested. Step back. I was like, and you're right. That's Twilight Zone shit.
It really is. Yeah. But you know, people can't be too careful right now. So it's
I had
wild,
no problem with anything. It was just very weird. I mean, he was total. I would have done the same thing. It was just to experience it is very weird.
Yeah, the new norms, man.
The new normal. I know. And of course, you go into like the grocery store, and it's packed, so everything goes out the window. Then I don't.
Right. Yeah. There's no food, but everyone's there.
Right, and there's like, you'd be lucky if you're 6 inches away from someone, let alone 6 feet.
Right. Yeah. It's wild times, man.
Very
Who knows
much.
how it's all going to get navigated.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's get into this. You went to Berklee, and then you studied to become a master luthier. That is really unconventional. I was curious what prompted you to do that.
Well, I went to Berklee right out of high school, and basically just because I didn't really want to go to college, and it was the only college I applied to, and I got accepted. So I thought, hey, I'll give it a try. And I ended up not staying there for the whole time. I dropped out.
How long
after
did you stay
a year?
After a year.
Yeah, but it was just, you know, a moment in my life where I think I had exhausted myself on scholastic situations, and
Sure, man.
I got to the big city and just wanted to play, and I was really just into, you know, playing instead of studying, really.
Right.
And so I ended up just going to jams and meeting musicians, and instead of, you know, sticking my head in a book, I was just cruising around town with my guitar, jamming with people, which is, you know, an education in itself. But
Yeah.
you know, and it quickly sort of surfaced that I wasn't gonna stick through going to school. So I moved back to Connecticut for a little while, and then ended up moving back to Boston with all of my buddies that I had met at Berklee. So I was living up there. I was, you know, hanging out with all the Berklee crowd, but I just wasn't going to Berklee.
Sure.
Actually,
It's not uncommon.
I would actually even do like studio sessions there, and you know, projects for people, all sorts of stuff. But I just was sort of, you know, off in my own land. But I lived up in Boston for almost 5 years, and then was gigging, playing, got involved in a couple of touring bands, started my own bands, and then I got involved in a band that had another guitar player in it, and he was into like modding guitars and stuff. He was into, you know, pulling pickups and doing setups and stuff like that, which I had no idea how to do. And so I thought it was pretty cool. And we sort of like got into tinkering with our guitars together, and just like hit a point where I was living in Boston and sort of wanted to get out of there. And I found a master luthier in Georgia that was offering basically apprenticeships. And I had sort of been like working on designing a guitar around the same time, and sort of got bit by that bug of tinkering with guitars, designing things, because I've always been a artistic person, and, you know, into design aspects of things. So and my father is a woodworker, so
so it comes natural to you, probably.
Yeah, there's a lot of art that happens in my family. So my mother's a visual artist, my dad's a woodworker, and so I sort of had this idea of like, hey, I'd like to build this weird guitar I've designed. And so the first one I really messed around with was with my father. Me and him sort of just figured out how to do the body. And, I didn't know anything about making my guitar tech side of my brain insane, but it's like one of those things that, I know what to do because I've got the skills. So I've sort of have an advantage there, but yeah, most people, and, I'm always showing up places and my friends, will hand me a guitar. Man, can you check this out? And it's usually just like, this one thing that's been bugging them for months, or even years or something. Man, I can't, this one note has just been like driving me insane, or there's this weird sound. I don't know what it is. It's usually like a tiny little thing that they, if just took the time to sort of like get into the mechanics of the guitar, they could have probably adjusted out of there, like, and had far less headaches. But yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know, guitar players spend so much time digging into actual playing and technique and tone and gear and whatnot, that it almost like, yeah, it seems like one of those little important facts that gets overlooked, is like, oh yeah, how can I maintain this thing? Or
I'm terrible with that because I just don't like doing those. I don't. The thought of having to even change my strings, it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Like I have this guitar. I know I wish I knew a little bit about it because I can dick around with it. That jazz box there, but it's like, I'm limited.
Yeah.
For the same reason what you're talking about. If I liked it, I would dig into it. I'm not a tinkerer.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm happy to have the clientele that brings me there.
Oh yeah. If everybody knew it, you'd have no business, man. No,
exactly. But yeah, no, I just, I enjoy doing it, and I do enjoy trying to explain it to people,
Sure. Did you open your shop, like once you finished Luthier school, did you like literally open a shop sort of right away?
Yeah, pretty much. In Hartford, actually, there's a severe lack of music shops of all kinds.
That's interesting. It's a major city.
Yeah, there used to be, there's like a guitar center 20 minutes outside Hartford, but that's Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And there was a Daddy's Junkie Music for a long time, but that got shut down. And then there's like a Music and Arts, which does like school
rentals and
instruments and stuff.
Yeah.
And other than that, that's it.
So you happen to be in a place that needed your service.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow,
so
that's wild.
I sort of just because when I moved to Georgia, I had moved from Boston, and I was living, in Boston for a while, and a lot of my Berklee friends either moved, to the West Coast or to New York City, or big music hubs. And
are you still friends with any of the guys that you met at Berklee?
Oh yeah, tons of them. Yeah.
Anybody I might know?
I don't know. There's
any big name guys?
I mean, there's a couple. There's a few bands and people that are in bands that are cruising around. I mean, everybody that I know from Berklee is doing something.
Right.
You may not have heard of them before, but yeah, I mean, that whole community is like such a deeply saturated pool of talent, that it's almost you can just go up there and meet anybody, and like guaranteed in a couple of years you're gonna hear something that they did, or some project that they were involved in. So but yeah, a lot of them moved to New York City and was trying to get me to move there. And I just, like, after I moved back from Georgia, just realized that Hartford was a really good spot for the shop.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, oh, why am I going to go to New York City, Boston, Nashville, LA, and just sort of get dumped into this ocean of,
there's tons
other
of
people.
There's huge competition there for Luthier stores.
Right. So, and just like right at the same exact time, my brother, who I play with now, had finished college, and we sort of moved back to Hartford at the same time, and that's when we started the band. So it was like it all just sort of culminated on moving back to Hartford, and I had set up my shop, and it actually, ended up being a really great spot. Ended up having work right away.
That's great.
And then Nick moved home, and we started jamming. So,
what made you guys put a two-piece band together, and like, how do you work that out in the studio and live? Do you do bass overdubs? I mean, or like, why didn't you just get another bassist? And I'm not asking you to defend your decision. I'm just curious, like, what made you say, "Hey, man, we'll do this, the two of us"? It's because that's tough, tougher.
It definitely has its challenges, but it also sort of opens up a whole separate freedom. But for the longest time, when we first started, we did have bass players, and we had one of Nick's best friends from high school was a bass player, and so he played with us for a long time. Our cousin played bass for us for a while, and then we had other friends come in. We had other guitar players. We had saxophone players. We were like a 5-piece at one point. So there was several incarnations of what Balkun Brothers was.
Balkun Brothers, yeah.
But yeah, it essentially came down to like 5 years ago. Our bass players just sort of kept getting involved in other things in life, and not making the gigs.
Usually it's the drummer that's like rotates, or No.
Luckily the drummer is as solid as can be. So, but yeah, no, they basically just kept quitting on us or leaving, and then we would try other people, and then just kept not working out for one reason or another. Somebody was drinking too much, or somebody was not learning the tunes, or just not hanging, basically.
Right.
And then Nick and I would jam and do shows just as a duo out of necessity, because people wouldn't show up.
Okay.
So we started, we were always on the same page. So the two of us would just, if somebody wasn't showing up, we'd just say, screw it, and go do the gig. So we ended up doing a bunch of duo gigs just because we had to.
Right.
And not because it was like, all right, this is going to be our thing. It just ended up that like nobody else would come to the gig. So, and then it sort of evolved from there, where like somebody saw us as a duo and thought it was pretty cool. And, they sort of offered us a chance to go on tour in Europe as a duo,
that was probably unexpected.
And it was also because we were still trying to keep our bass player on. And so we kind of, got this opportunity where, this guy was like, hey, it'd be pretty easy to bring you guys on tour with just two of you. You guys are brothers, it would be logistically super simple. The duo setup is really cool. And, what do you guys think about it? And we actually, we actually gave our bass player a chance. We like asked him like, hey man, look, we're getting this opportunity to go on tour. And, he turned us down. He was doing other stuff. And, so that was like the,
wow. So you didn't really, so in a sense, you didn't form the two piece. It was evolved, it was
it
quit
just
onto you
became,
guys. Yeah, it just became. That's cool.
It wasn't really a conscious, like, all right, this is going to be what it is. And you know, a lot of people obviously give us the comparison to like the White Stripes and the Black Keys and that type of thing. But
Sure.
we, we really weren't big fans of that stuff. You know, our formative idea of what a band was like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and
Sure.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, and stuff like that. Like big, at least 3-4 piece bands that had pretty substantial bass heavy sides to them, and so that's like always where we were coming from as far as what we wanted to do.
How do you guys record? Do you play bass on or do you not have a bass? And then how do you translate that to live?
So basically, through a lot of experimenting, I've designed these guitars that I have guitar pickups and bass pickups in. So I'm running 2 channels out of the guitar.
So one for bass, one for guitar.
Right.
Holy shit. So if you go to Luthier, this whole thing is just like all worked out.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, and they're also baritone guitars, which is sort of something that came a little later on in the experimental, phase of how we're going to pull off sounding like a full band with only 2 people.
Sure.
But I picked up a baritone guitar in a studio one time when we were recording, and it was just like a light bulb moment of like, holy shit, this is the instrument that I've been looking for the whole time.
They sound great, those baritones.
Yeah, you get that nice low guttural low range out of it, but it also carries, the mid and high. It just sounds just like a regular guitar sometimes too. So
absolutely.
But yeah, so I've since designed my own baritone guitars that have hybrid guitar and bass electronics in them, and they and so I run a guitar amp and a bass amp, and then I have on-off switches on the pedal side of things where I can sort of signal out the guitar side of things or just have the bass side of things. And
so you got you have a lot going on when you're playing.
Yeah. It's there's a few things happening, but I've tried to keep it fairly simple so that I'm not just like stuck at the pedal board the whole time.
Yeah, sure.
There's when we play live, we're pretty high energy, and we like to jump all over the place and stuff. So
I've seen a lot of videos. Absolutely.
Yeah, but we also just like to, speaking to like the limitations of things. You can only do certain things, but it also opens up like a possibility of how to arrange the music for this limitation, so it's like,
gotcha.
It's like, all right, well, if we want to have especially for like a cover tune or something, if we're doing like a Zeppelin cover where there's 4 main parts happening at the same time, it's like, all right, well, how do we arrange this song so that people still know that it's this song, but we're doing it with just as much power, but it's going to be our own arrangement of the song, because there is only so much that we can do.
Sure.
But using arrangement and musicality and volume, there's like actually quite a bit that we can pull off and make sound really cool. And I've been really enjoying, writing and arranging for this setup, because it really twists your brain into like a different type of thought process that is completely different than when we used to have an actual rhythm section behind me, you know.
Sure.
Where it's more, you know, a more, I don't know if traditional is the right word, but a more straightforward sort of like regular.
Yeah, I think traditional is the right word. Yeah, conventional, whatever. Yeah, straightforward. Yeah, all
that's
those
sort
things.
of like way of presenting a guitar-based band that you're always used to, you know, with the sort of like, think of it as like the Jimi Hendrix kind of style, where like you've got this thumping drums and bass behind, and you can just rip and roar over the top of it, which is, you know, everybody's favorite way to play guitar,
Sure,
including my own. But it's also like, you know, doing it this way has shifted my thought process of like, oh, well, what if it was all about the rhythms, or really all about hitting certain notes or hitting certain sonic things that, like, you know, keeps all of the important musical aspects of the songs in there, but you can tell that something's different about it, or so it sort of inherently gives it its own feel and its own kind of way of breathing and yeah, it's like it's almost like finding a different road that you've never explored before, you know, and you're like, wow, you know, I've always gone down this one road and it works really, really well, but what about this other crazy route that like nobody ever goes down, you know? Totally. And yeah, I find, you know, just personally it yields some really cool creative results.
Well, man, and congratulations. You guys have 4 records, four full-length albums, and then you're working on another one, I know now. So that's like, whatever you're doing, it's working. How do you guys, let me ask you this. You have a song, I mentioned this to you because I want to know personally, on the Devil on TV record from 2017. It's called KFK. Dude, I love that. It's like psychedelic blues. It's a long song, like 7 minutes. What's the backstory to that song?
Deep track. I'm glad you got all the way there.
What's that? Lost you there.
That's a deep track, man.
Oh, it's a great track, man. I love it. It's like epic, man. It's like a signature band track, actually.
That tune is about a dream, basically. So it's very very cerebral, very kind of psychedelic, like it's like, yeah, it's sort of dealing with basically you're in this like in between weird dream state that you're not sure if you're alive or dead,
kind of like now.
yeah that's it, man. It's not dissimilar. But yeah, that's kind of an old tune that, like, the chords and the progression and stuff for it I had kicking around for a long time. Just like, you know, you hear about some tunes coming together in like 4 minutes, and then some tunes come together in like 10 years. So
absolutely,
that's KFK is definitely the later. It took a long time to sort of come together, and we I think we kind of just put it together and tried it out for the album. And we might have been playing it, but it's not one that we play live a lot, just because it's got a lot of weird parts and we always forget how to play it. And
it's a great. If it's not like violating the Kentucky Fried Chicken secret recipe code, is there what does KFK stand for? If you can say
it. KFK actually stands for Kung Fu Karate.
There you go. That's so funny.
Yeah, and that's basically because I came in, I think, probably to rehearsal one time was telling Nick, like, man, I had this weird dream about I was in this like kung fu karate tournament, and it was like really weird.
That's funny, man.
And I think we were working on the song, and it's about a dream, and it's not even particularly about that dream, but it just sort of like, you know, it became KFK.
Yeah, great track.
And then we had one of Nick's old buddies from our childhood. He played the violin at the end of it.
Okay.
Which is probably like one of my favorite things.
I wasn't sure if that was synth, or I didn't know that was real or not.
Yeah, no, it's an actual acoustic violin that he played, and it's just real spooky and swampy, and yeah, it was perfect.
Great track, man. What do you attribute, like, you guys are booked a lot, you've done a lot of touring, and that's not, I mean, a lot of people struggle with that. I mean, without giving away your secrets, what do you attribute that to?
We just like to work hard, I guess. And Nick really does a lot of our management, and he did our booking for the longest time. So he's just a real go-getter. So he
must be good on the phones.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean, he's got a very business-minded, sort of disposition about him. So, but we now have agents that help us book and stuff. So
gotcha.
That helps quite a bit. But I don't know. Certainly, starting off, you kind of just have to have the drive to do it yourself as much as possible. And even now with the way that the whole industry is, like, you really, even if somebody else is working for you in some other aspects, like, there's so much that you have to do on your own.
You should
to make stuff happen. So I think that's just really, we like to play, and we have a lot of fun doing it, but yeah, the grind of the road is a whole different animal to it, to just going out and getting a gig and having fun. It's you really got to want to be out there.
Oh yeah. What any like goals, or what are you looking forward to in the future, like short term or next 3 years or something, assuming life comes back to normal at some point relatively soon?
Right. Yeah. I think surviving is a good one.
Surviving is number one. Isn't it weird how your priorities shift? I saw this article. Somebody posted, what's the first thing you're going to do and people said, I'm going to give, and most people said some version of, I'm going to give someone a hug.
Right.
Right, but it's funny that you're even thinking about that not you, that we're all even thinking about that,
Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, I mean, I'd say we hope to get our next album released, and probably just do a bunch of supporting of that in all aspects of playing, and getting it out there, getting it played, getting it heard. So that's probably the most immediate thing that we want to get the new album out there. We actually recorded it last January.
Oh wow! So it's done. It's mixed and everything.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, it's been done. We're just finalizing some artwork and figuring out how we're going to release it and whatnot. But yeah, it's actually titled "Here Comes the End of the World."
Get out. Was that any?
And no, this was we that's just the first song on the record, and we wrote that song like 2 years ago or something. So
that's wild.
I mean, it just seemed like an eventuality, one of these days. I didn't think, maybe, and hopefully not soon.
Yeah, right. Hopefully not anytime soon. Hell yeah, man.
But now we're thinking like, all right, maybe there's not a better time to release "Here Comes the End of the World" right now.
Yeah, or at least release the single. maybe.
Right.
Which I wouldn't release the whole record, but maybe the single would be a good idea.
Right, which we have in the can, and we recorded it in Chicago at Steve Albini's.
Cool.
What's his place called? Electrical Audio. So we recorded it with him in 3 days. And,
how'd you get hooked up with him? Are you through a label?
We don't have a label right now.
So like you just hired him to do this?
Yeah, we just hit up the studio.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
For you.
He is he came up in the punk rock DIY type thing. So he's actually fairly accessible if you want to go do the thing with him. So
that's very cool, man.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, and needless to say, it sounds great. But we did like a real heavy, aggressive record with him, which is just the way to go.
Here comes the end of the world, dude. That's very interesting that you did that record. Now is a good time to release that for sure, man.
Right. So we're
Here comes the end of the world.
That's
a local band from New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah. We're just throwing out a prediction, man.
Well, good luck with the record, man. I'm looking forward to it myself.
Yeah.
What were some of the low points or dark periods? I mean, you're a young guy, so you probably haven't had too many. Or I hope you haven't had too many. Low points or dark periods you had to go through.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, try and keep things on the positive realm.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always ups and downs in life, and I'd say most of any of the darker situations I've been in have been through people I've met and relationships I've been through, and things like that. But
sure.
Luckily I've been also surrounded by a lot of good people, and that's always that's always what gets you through. I've definitely had my experimental phases of doing the wrong things at the wrong time, and
sure, man,
at the wrong people, and that's basically all it comes down to. Wrong thing at the wrong time with the wrong people. But yeah, I mean, Nick and I actually had some run-ins with the law, and
wow.
Actually more or less what started our band was that I was playing in a different band, and we went up to a gig, and the rest of my band after the gig, Nick used to just come like roadie for us.
Right.
And after the gig, everybody was like, "Oh, let's go to this party. It's going to be great." And I was, sort of just tired. And I was like, "Nah, I'm going to drive back to Boston, just go sleep this one off. It's, I'm tired out. It's been a long week." And sure enough, like, our buddies go to the party, have a great time. Me and Nick drive back to Boston and get arrested along the way.
Oh my God.
And so, yeah, ended up, having to spend the night in jail, and then,
that sucks,
one thing
man.
went to another.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So, but that's like almost right after that when Nick and I just sort of decided to start playing music together.
So if that hadn't happened, the band might not have happened.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm not sure if that's a direct correlation, but it definitely,
you just don't
it was
know.
definitely like sort of this catalyst that was just like, oh yeah, well, we've been through this together, so we might as well like start playing music together.
That's cool, man. That's a good story.
Which is like, a lot of people think that Nick and I have been playing music together since we were kids. And we actually only started playing together like in our 20s.
That's great, man. And look at you, man. You've been around Europe 6 times now.
Yeah, which is pretty wild.
That's really, really a lot of good hard work and success, man. Hey, so as far as guitars, if I ask you what your go-to guitar is right now, is it probably one of your own?
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so it is a baritone guitar. Could actually grab it over here if you want to see it.
And if somebody wants to check out your shop, I'll tell them, go to balkunguitars.com. It's BALKUN, Balkun Guitars.
That's it.
Or am I saying, is it Balkun or Balkan? I don't want to mess your name up.
It is Balkun, but man,
Balkun.
it gets pronounced so many different ways.
All right, go to Balkun Guitars, BALKUN, guitars.com.
So my main guitar would be this guy, if you can see it here.
Oh, wow. So it's like a Strat and a Jazzmaster and a Mustang shape. That's really, and an Ibanez Paul Gilbert with a handle up there, man.
Right.
That's wild. Wow, that's a beefy body, man. Like that's a massive.
And this is my my sort of.
That's your logo. Your headstock. I like that, man. That's very cool. I've never seen it imprinted into the wood like that.
Yeah, it's actually carved in.
Yeah, it's not like a little sticker. It's like carved.
No.
Great, man.
That's like hand carved in there. So, and that's one of the things that, like, everybody puts their name on a sticker on the headstock, and I wanted something a little fancier.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so you got 3 pickups. It's a baritone guitar. You got 3 pickups on there.
Right. Well, there's actually 4. Well,
4 pickups.
These 2 right here are the bass pickups in the middle. This one's like a 62 Strat, and this one is a Gibson 57 Plus.
Wow.
And so these 2, it's a DiMarzio. They're basically like a hot rail, how they make the hot rails for guitars.
I do.
But this is for like their P-bass model. But I've split them apart, and they individually are their own humbucking pickup. So they have if you split them apart, they have like a really nice output on their own. So this one is placed a little bit higher and just gets the low 3 strings, and then this one is placed lower and gets the low 4 strings, and it has its own switch that goes between the 2 of these, and then this switch goes between the 2
the humbucker and the single coil. Wow, that's interesting, man. You got to be smart just to operate that thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, it took a little bit of getting used to, but it actually is like pretty natural. Like, if I just want to get like, because the 2 bass pickups kind of have a neck bridge type tonal difference to it.
Sure.
And if I want to get that 4-string bass thing, I can get the 4 strings, but if I want to clean up those high strings, and just get the low notes out of that bass, that bass neck pickup, I can do that too, and it just gives it a lot more control over sort of the dynamic of the tone that's happening there. So this is my.
I'm sorry. So Ash, what's that model called?
I haven't really called it anything yet. Just this is sort of a prototype. I've got another one over here that is at the actual prototype. But yeah, I've started. I've sort of just started design. I designed it just out of my own necessity of like,
sure,
this is what I'm doing with the band, and so I sort of need a instrument that can handle this. But I've had other people sort of like interested in what's happening with it too, and but it's it came from different ideas of guitars that were already out there. I sort of just took my own take on it. But there's a guitar player named Charlie Hunter,
Oh, I know Charlie. I had him on the show a long time ago. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
plays a
yeah,
seven-string monster.
right, yeah, and he's just like he's on another level. But
Yeah,
his guitars, he's got like these hybrid guitars, you know,
yeah.
and his thing has like a separate channel for the low strings and the high strings.
I did not know that. Okay.
And so I was like, oh man, I saw his setup, and then there was a duo that they still play around, but they were big in the '90s called Local H from Chicago.
Okay.
And he has he plays just like a regular Strat and has like half a P bass pickup
Okay.
on the low 2 or 3 strings or something like that. And between the two guitars, when I saw their setups, I was like, oh man, this is, you know, these guys have got something going on. And between figuring out like what the heck a baritone guitar could do, that was sort of like my take on it. Was I need to like design my own baritone guitar that has this hybrid electronics thing going on, and you can make a lot of noise with it.
That's a really cool guitar. And if people go to balkunguitars.com, will they see that?
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool.
And you know, my Instagram, I've got like a bunch of I do a bunch of sort of like one-off build type things for people. People are always coming to me with wild ideas of what they want built and stuff. But I've been working on trying to sort of make more of an actual model, I guess.
Like a line. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But yeah, a lot of my stuff is you know, I do like a lot of repairs, restorations. That's bread and butter work. But when somebody's got you know, a custom idea, I try and make that happen. But I also make basses and mandolins and, you know, any kind of stringed instrument that somebody's, you know, coming at me with. I work on all sorts of stuff.
I would imagine touring is like really good lead generation for you, because people probably want to see, you got a lot of guitar players say, hey man, talk about your guitar. And then I would imagine people call you.
Yeah. No, it definitely works hand in hand.
That's awesome.
You know, everybody's always like, what the heck is that guitar that you're playing?
Right.
And where did you get it?
Right. That's cool, man.
But yeah, and then there's people that come to my guitar shop that don't know that I'm a touring guitar player at all either.
Oh,
they just purely have found me through, like, you know, needing guitar work or something.
Right. That's cool, man. What was your first guitar that you ever had?
My first guitar was a Yamaha Dreadnought acoustic. Just like that standard Yamaha that everybody's got.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think my parents got it for me for my 15th birthday or something.
All right.
And that's the first guitar that I remember having. I've actually since found pictures of myself as a little kid with like little toy guitars.
Oh, wow.
I have no recollection of ever having, but there is photographic proof of me as a little kid playing a guitar that came from somewhere. But the Yamaha I still have. It's still kicking around somewhere.
And your brother does not make his own drum set, does he?
No.
Yeah. I'm just messing around.
He actually works with some.
How funny would that be?
Custom companies, and he has some really cool drum sets. But yeah, no, he's always like, "When are you gonna make me a drum?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a totally different animal, man."
It's not Apple. That's totally different, man.
Yeah.
Hey, tell me your top 3 Desert Island discs, man. Just for today, just for right now.
All right, right now, man, I'd say Band of Gypsies. That one is always on there. I think I've probably listened to that record a million times. And I never get sick of it. Probably Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Great record.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. It was huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, still am. And then I'd have to put on some probably Johnny Winter and Live.
Oh, that 3 record set. Well, it was when it came out on vinyl. It was 3 sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great record.
That one, Johnny Winter was definitely a life changer for me.
You're a big guy, like height wise, I'm assuming.
I'm about 6'2". Yeah.
Yeah, because that guitar is not small. Bottom of it's got like behind after the humbucker, it's got some beef to it, and I'm like
yeah.
Like I'm 5'9". I could not like walk around with that thing.
Definitely, there's definitely something
normal
about like playing the baritone guitar now that feels really comfy to me because I am tall.
Yeah,
and long arms. Just like it almost even looks more natural on me.
It does, man. It totally does.
And it's like, but it's not quite as big as a full bass guitar, which I enjoy playing bass too, but yeah, no, it's when I got into the baritone territory, it was a totally like, just felt so natural to me that I was like, man, this is where I should have been living the whole time.
Do you know who Mark Luthier is from Snarky Puppy?
I do. Yeah.
He plays a lot of baritone. He's a really good player.
Have taken a few video lessons with him.
Oh, have you? Yeah. He was on the show. He really nice guy. Really.
Yeah. And incredible all around everything. But yeah, I actually got turned on to him because of his baritone stuff that he was doing.
Right. That's what I figured.
Because it's really hard to find people that are playing baritone, with any kind of like serious musicality.
Yeah.
A lot of times if somebody has one, it's kind of just like gets used maybe for like one thing here or one thing there. But like, yeah, it's really hard to find people that are like really digging into, because they are their own instrument. It's its own territory for sure. So, you can find a million people playing a Strat or a Les Paul or something, or even any kind of bass tone or something you want to like try looking up like cool baritone licks, It's like
top 10 baritone guitar licks. Yeah.
Right. You're like, who even plays one of these things?
Yeah. Well, you got the right guy with Mark. So.
Right.
Hey, you have any hobbies outside of music?
Other than building instruments
or Luthier.
Yeah. But I love cooking.
That's the number one hobby for musicians.
I'm cooking all the time, man. It's definitely
right.
I grew up in an Italian family, and my mother and grandmother made sure we all knew how to cook, man.
Very cool.
So I still love cooking. I love eating, so I gotta love cooking.
I hear it. Steve Balkun will build you a guitar and then feed you after you.
I will, man, and then we'll jam all night.
Well, worse things could happen. Right. Who's had the biggest influence on you, musically and also personally?
Well, I'd say, personally, definitely my parents, and my family in general. Definitely hugely influential as people and creatively too. Just my parents are very, very creative people. They're always, I'll show up. They have a busier studio than I do. So
wow. I thought that was so cool when you said your mom came to you and said, "Hey, how about this?" Because they have to be like not saying normal, but most parents would be like, "Man, you need to get some stability." But someone who's creative is going to say, "Hey, man, you're a young kid. Enjoy being creative. You don't have to get stability at 20. You'll be fine."
Right. Yeah. No, they have always been super supportive of and obviously we are a family operation in the Balkun Brothers. So they are very supportive of everything that we do. So. And they're active artists in their own rights. So they're out there doing art installations and putting on art shows. And my dad teaches wood carving and wood sculpture and stuff, and so they're out there just as much as we are. So
That's great.
We sort of keep the circle of inspiration going between us. But
great.
I'd say musically I'm influenced by all sorts of stuff. So there's really no shortage of it'd probably be really hard to find my biggest influence, but
sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of my early memories of music stem from my parents and from my dad. My dad plays guitar, and he just plays like little acoustic guitars, into Bob Dylan and John Lennon and stuff like that. So he used to just, when we were kids, he would come in and like sing us to sleep playing like Knocking on Heaven's Door and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that's cool.
And not even like registering that back when you're a kid, but now that I'm totally aware of who Bob Dylan is and the importance of like hearing music like that as a kid. So yeah, I have no problem saying that they're definitely my biggest influences.
Very cool, man. Two more questions. Tell me you may not have this, so if you don't, that's cool. Talk about a specific experience that either changed your life or changed the way you think about things.
Oh man. Well, there was this thing in 2020 called the coronavirus.
It changed your life, but how did it change? You could use that. How did it change the way you think about things?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's even in just the few weeks that it's been kicking around, the music industry as far as live planning and performing goes is like, I don't think anybody knows what to think right now.
Oh, there is no music industry right now.
Yeah. So it's like I'm surprised that we were even able to finish off our tour, and we had to cancel a couple gigs, but we sort of started the tour before everything was, shut down and sort of in the situation that it is. And then we ended the tour with everything being shut down. So it was like this wild ride.
Yeah. It's not just the music industry. It's like almost any service business, like any hotels, entertainment, I mean, they're shut down, right? It's funny, man. My daughter, she's 20. And so she doesn't think the way adults think yet. Right. This all happened. All she does is she looks on the thing. She goes, "Oh my God, Dad, I can go to, Buffalo and visit my friend round trip for $35 on a plane." I'm like, yeah, I didn't say anything because if I told her, she would say, but I waited. And then she came to me, she started hearing stuff. She goes, "Let me ask you a question. I know that you're not like paranoid. So what do you think of that?" I'm like, "Man, I really don't think that's a good idea."
Yeah.
But like, I really wanted to like shake her and say, of course, it's a fucking horrible idea.
Yeah.
But she's 20.
There's a reason why nobody is going.
It's $35 because there's no demand, zero. Right. Nobody. You'll be the only one on the plane.
Right.
So it's funny to different reactions of different people in different places of their life. As
right.
You had people on the beach here in I'm in Tampa, but right over the bay in Clearwater, the beaches were packed. It was crazy. They were packed. Wow. Well, finally they cleaned, and people all over the country were like, "This is disgusting. What's going on?" And it was.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of crazy. Like as the news was spreading and whatnot while on tour, there was places that, you could tell, like we'd show up, place would be dead. Nobody's out. Nobody's even walking the streets. And then we'd go to like the next town and everybody's out. Everybody's partying. Nobody gives a crap. It was like
Which one
wild.
got you more upset?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was really weird. It was like, yeah, I don't know if this is good or if this is bad, and I don't think anyone knows what to think right now.
Yeah.
You know, it was really, really, really wild. I am happy to be home though, for sure. I'm just like,
I'm sure your wife's happy you're home too, man.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And your folks, yeah.
We're just hitting the quarantine mode, you know.
What else can you do, man? That's it.
Yeah.
Last question, Steve. Tell me the funniest thing that's ever happened to you on stage or in the studio.
Oh wow. Well, we like, there's a lot of humor that runs through our operation in our band, and we like to keep things pretty light. But yeah, for some reason, because there's only two of us, and it actually happens quite often, is like, people look at the stage and they only see two people, and they assume that we need more people on the stage.
Oh, the main guy will be coming out in a few minutes, right? Is that
or just like there's some psychological thing that gets triggered in people's brains.
That's funny, like, man.
People that, you know, and it'll happen with like somebody that plays harmonica, or somebody's got like, you know, somebody wants to jam with us or something. I understand that, but like, it'll also happen with just regular people that like, they find themselves having to hop on stage and like either just like dance or do it or whatever.
So people hop on stage all the time?
People all the time. It happens all the time where it's almost become a thing for us that if like somebody's making their way up onto the stage, we'll put them on the spot now. We will put them to work, because
good for you, man.
They just hop on there and just like, yeah, all right, there's just these two guys up here, you know, we're just going to get on the stage.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we've had, and sometimes it's really great. Sometimes it works out, and like whoever hops on and ends up adding to the entertainment of whatever's happening. And then sometimes it becomes apparent that like, they just wanted to mess with us, and so we put them on the spot to mess with them, and then they usually, you know, shy away. But yeah, I think one time we had a spoon player come on stage.
Wow. Were you in Ireland or something?
No, we were in San Francisco.
Okay.
And which, you know, anything can happen in San Francisco.
Absolutely. So. Was he or she clothed?
Yeah, he was,
okay.
But he was heavily intoxicated.
Shocking.
And he kept yelling something at us, and we were like, what is this guy yelling at us? And we finally figured out that he was trying to tell us he was on the 9th day of his 10-day birthday bender.
Wow. Who has that much energy to have 10 days of a birthday bender, man?
Of birthday bender. But somehow he made it on stage. Wow. And we had actually it was like not too long after Chris Cornell had passed away. So we had actually been doing a cover of Spoon Man by Soundgarden. And so we were like, all right, this guy really wants to play the spoons. He's already on the stage. And so we played Spoon Man with this drunk Spoon Man.
Did he play spoons okay?
And no, he was ripping.
Really?
He was ripping. And then the one thing that he did that, like, if any musician on any instrument ever does this, you're okay with me for the rest of your life. He like ripped his spoon solo, did a full 360, and then smashed his spoons on the stage. Just like,
wow,
360 and smashed the spoons. And I was like, all right, if you smash your instrument on stage during a performance, you are cool forever.
You're awesome. I don't care. Yeah.
And so that one really got me. I was like dying laughing. I couldn't believe that this guy, first of all, like made his way up onto the stage to play spoons of anything. And then he ended up like shredding the spoons.
That's so cool.
and then smashing them. So that was like, I'm sure there's plenty of wild things that's happened to us on stage, but that's always one that sticks out.
That's a good one.
It's like, do you remember when we played Spoon Man with the Spoon Man?
Was there any recording of that? I want to get the Spoon tapes, man. That's what I want you to do.
I feel like there might be some somewhere in the vault that performance, was captured on somebody's cell phone somewhere. So.
All right, so let me make a public appeal. This is like a public appeal. What the hell is that? I'm watching too many telethons. Hey, man, if anybody has the Spoon tapes from the Balkun Brothers performance, what year was that? Was it this current year? Was it 20?
No, it was probably 3 years ago or so.
Late teens, 2019, 18, 17. The
In
Spoon
San
Man
Francisco.
performance. Where was it? San Francisco? What was the club?
It was the Boom Boom Room.
The Boom Boom Room with the Spoon Man. Let's get this, and I will post it on Everyone Loves Guitar for everybody to listen to, man. That would be so
if I find it, man, I'm sending it to you.
Please do. I will post it for sure. I will post it. Oh, that's great. So Spoon Man, you did a good thing, man. You're in a legend now in your in Balkun history. Dude, thank you very much for everything. I appreciate it. Let me tell people the reason I had Steve on the show is I heard the Balkun Brothers, man, and I just reached out to him because I think their music is great. He's a really talented guitar player. If you like groovy blues, psychedelic stuff, he's your man. The band sounds great. And I was laughing when you told me Nick is the pretty serious businessman because I just kept thinking of his hat, which is awesome.
Oh,
Where's that board meeting, Nick? Man. Right on. That was great, man. Check out the Balkun Brothers. It's BALKUN brothers.com. Their website is very thorough, actually. And you can also find them on Instagram and Facebook. Man, their last record, Devil on TV, was great. And I'm really looking forward to the album, Here Comes the End of the World. I'm not looking forward to the end of the world, but Here Comes the End of the World, the record, when that comes out. And also, man, if you're interested in checking out Steve's guitars, go to Balkun Guitars. Again, BALKUN guitars.com. And Balkun Guitars is also on Facebook and Instagram. And bring him your problematic 6-string issues, and he will sort them out. And, man, I'll look forward to the new record when life resumes, whenever the hell that will be.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man.
And I hope to see you down here touring. You guys would play Florida.
Oh, we play Florida all the time.
Great. Well, I will keep my eyes open and look for you, man. I'd love to come see you play. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think we'll probably be down there, if schedules don't change. But who knows when? But we're supposed to go do a run down there. I think in the fall sometime. We usually go down southeast at least a couple times a year. So.
Do you play Tampa ever? Or Ybor City you probably play.
Yeah, we've played Tampa. I feel like we've played Tampa at least once or twice. If we have, it was kind of just a passing through gig. I know we're going down there. We're booked to play at one of the Swanee festivals.
Right, that's up in the middle of the state.
But yeah, we've played all over Florida. We've
awesome.
I think last year we did like 2 weeks alone down there.
You
like
kind of have to, because it's like,
yeah, there's a lot to cover.
Well, if you want to make any kind of money, it's tough. Yeah, you got to really commit to the state, man. It's tough like that from a touring standpoint. Well, I'll definitely be looking for it. I'd love to come see you play. You guys are great, and I wish you all the success in the world. And keep doing what you're doing, man. You're super talented, and you have a really good mindset about it. And it's nice to see your appreciation of the challenge of that, and that it's that you're being, you're looking at things differently, because you're doing a great job.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels with your friends. We appreciate your support. Please check out the Balkun Brothers at balkunbrothers.com, BALKUN, and Balkun Guitars. And most important, especially in these crazy, fucked up, nutty Twilight Zone time, I feel like I should be now smoking a cigarette like Rod Serling. Like,
that's it.
Like, what was his famous thing at the end? In the Twilight Zone. But he would always say something, right? What was his thing?
Oh man, he has like so many tags actually that because I've been watching the episodes. You always think it was just one thing, but he's got so many clever things.
we'll figure this out tomorrow on the Twilight Zone. No, everybody, most important, especially nowadays, man, remember that happiness really is a choice, man. So choose wisely. You got to make good decisions now. You can't get all dark and negative, because the only person that's going to lose on that is you. So, be positive and make good choices. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. Steve, thank you for everything, brother.
Thank you.